hello, KCIW listeners, and welcome to Curry Café. I'm volunteer Rick McNamer with host Ray Gary. Every Sunday afternoon from 3 to 4, we put together a panel of guests, or guests in our case today, to discuss topics of interest in our community. Listeners can participate in our show by texting in questions or comments to 541-661-4098. Again, that's 541-661-4098. And before we get going, I'd just like to let everybody know that KCIW is an all-volunteer community radio station, and we depend on our volunteers, sponsors, and underwriters to keep us on the air. So if any listener would like to help us out or become part of KCIW, please go to kciw.org, click on Get Involved. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, now I'll turn it over to Mr. Ray to tell us about today's show.
Well, I know many of you tune in for no other reason but to hear my well-thought-out, clever, smart-ass remarks. But today there'll be none of that because this is a very serious show.
Yes, it is.
We have a guest who's going to discuss a very serious topic with us, and hopefully, maybe it'll be helpful to some of you out there to get some of this information. So, you're on. Who are you? Why are you here? And anything else you want to say? If you have merch you want to sell or a product.
He has an important message.
Product you want to, anyway. End of this well-thought-out, clever, smart-ass remarks.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Cecelia, and I am a resident here in Brookings. And the subject for this today's conversation is actually on suicide. I want to say, first of all, that I do not have any medical training in psychology, psychiatry. I have personal experience with the subject. I lost my first husband to suicide, and my experience includes counseling and therapy. And a lot of research on the subject. It's very hard to talk about, but it is very, very important. I am concerned about a lot of people who are maybe in our community even who are older, who may, be struggling with different kinds of issues, and also younger people who have maybe as many issues. We should all be aware that there is a suicide hotline. It is 988. You can call that number or you can text that number. But there are people there to help when you have an issue. When you are feeling very lonely and you are feeling very down in the middle of the night, it doesn't matter. You can reach out and someone will help you.
That's a national number.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Yes, it is. And don't be afraid, to call. It's all, And
I guess not just if you're feeling despondent, but if you know of someone else that you might want. This helpline would...
It's urgent, yes. Yeah. But it's...
988. Okay, very important.
988, correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I guess what I will share with you is that suicide is a very difficult topic to talk about. People don't always understand all of the different things that happen, when you have something like this happen to you, with a family member or even a friend. They talk about all the different stages that a person goes through after the death of a loved one. But I'll tell you, with suicide, there are no stages. There are no this first phase, second phase. It all happens at once. You are feeling shocked. You are feeling brokenhearted. You are feeling angry, and you're feeling guilty as well.
Tough.
I would think guilt would be very, very high on the,
Guilt is very high,
yeah.
but it's the shock, because it's so unexpected that it doesn't feel real at first,
As sudden deaths are.
Yes, right. It just does not feel real. Also, let's see. I would say that anger is also a part of it. Why did you do this? Because it doesn't affect just you and that person. It affects your entire family,
And friends of the person who has done that. Of course.
Friends, yes. In my case, the anger was because our son had found his father. And I was so angry that he was hurt. And I was so afraid that he would have a difficult time recovering from.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
You
this.
bet.
And of course, he was able to get counseling as well, and.
And he blamed himself, probably?
No, he didn't. Well, in a way, he did. He could have been there earlier. It's all of that.
Maybe he contributed to the cause. I mean, this is the way people think.
Oh, no.
Like children frequently think they're the reason that parents are divorcing.
No.
Nothing like-
It wasn't really any of that. It's hard to just, after it happens and you are going through this guilt stage of what could I have done? What should I have done? How did I not know this was going to happen? Then you start thinking about, okay, I should have realized that he was very quiet. I should have realized that he seemed sad. I should have realized that he was joking too much about things that weren't really, funny, that he was, so you go through all of those things.
Such a huge range of emotions.
Oh, my gosh. And you're bombarded with all of these reactions at the same time.
Yeah.
They're not separate.
Right.
They are, they're all there at once. And, then after a while, as time passes, this had happened, I had told you about 14 years ago, and yet sometimes it seems like yesterday.
Yeah.
So, but, I have done, like I said, a lot of counseling and received a lot of therapy on my own, because you're so hurt, and, just,
And we also talked about, you delved into a lot of research about
I did.
the subject.
I did.
And you feel, I'm guessing here, but you feel that helped you ease some of that pain, maybe ease some of that anger?
Well, yes, in a way. When I had done my research, I discovered that, that males have a higher risk of suicide, especially older males.
79% was
Yes.
the number.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty big
It's
difference
much higher
there.
than women. It is. And women may attempt suicides, but males never, they always follow through. They never, also youth suicide is also becoming very high. In fact, when I looked last, youth suicide is the second leading cause of death for
youth.
for youth 15 to 24 years of age.
Unbelievable.
Yes, although they have found that it has decreased since the launch of this 988 hotline.
Oh, well, that's
So
That's wonderful.
that's very
good that's making a difference.
Oh, yes, it's wonderful.
Somebody, no
Yeah.
matter where, they can reach out.
Exactly.
And I imagine schools have posters and things advertising that.
I haven't seen any in the schools, but I know that they do address those kinds of issues. When they see something, it is brought to the attention of parents. when children when their grades start to fall, when there's bullying that is happening, when there's a change in their family status, when parents break up, when those kind of things happen, when they see a parent who is even very sad or very worried. And my goodness, right now, in this environment, when people are worried about their finances, when they're worried about their health, when they're worried about their children, children sense that in a parent.
Oh, yeah.
They do.
And they don't have the life experience to realize that what's going on in their life is
Yes.
temporary, and someday
Right.
the sun will shine again.
Exactly. Things get better.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you're a child, everything is magnified
Yes.
also.
Yeah. Looking back on that, I can remember that. And maybe a lot of people were bullied. I was bullied for a little. I'm a big dude, but maybe wasn't so big back then. But I remember being bullied by some kid. And that can defeat your soul pretty hard and heavy.
It can.
Luckily, my parents and teachers, it wasn't a big serious thing. A lot of people have gone through that as kids. But it can affect
Yes.
you pretty hard.
Yes. And nowadays, a lot of the bullying is online.
That's a whole different deal.
Oh, my goodness.
I've heard a lot of
Yes.
tragic stories about that.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And, kids now have a cell phone in their hand, and, when they're very young, when they're 10, 11 years old, they're online.
Yeah.
And so, which isolates them too, not just the gaming and the, and even doing other things online. They are self-isolating.
Yeah.
Which is really bad.
Self-defeating,
Yes, it is.
I think.
Yeah. So it's important, I think, that that they're engaged. That children are engaged with other activities.
And I haven't had kids or grandkids in school in a long time, but I do hope, and I have a feeling that schools nowadays are pretty cognizant of that. And have you had dealings with the local schools here?
Yes.
Talking about
Actually,
that?
I was a volunteer at the Master Gardener program working in the garden, and we taught 2nd and 4th graders gardening.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And so it was a class, and we'd teach them all about the garden, about the things that we grow. They would plant and harvest, and they would talk about bugs, and they'd, all these wonderful things.
Positive.
Very positive.
Stuff.
You often see kids in the inner city being taught how to garden, and that many of them actually didn't realize that their lettuce comes out of the ground and grows in the dirt.
That you can pull a carrot out of the ground and dust it off and eat it. Yes. Yeah.
I remember my dad had a garden in the back, and as a kid, I didn't like any veggies, but I remember him one time pulling one out of the dirt, and I just started. He goes, "Go ahead, here, just munch on this." And I was like, "Oh, well, this carrot's pretty good."
Yeah, exactly.
But that kind of stuff is it's just soul inspiring.
Yeah,
and maybe not every child would get inspired by it, but I bet a lot do.
They do. But what I noticed was that these children, wanted to engage with the adults. And the most wonderful part of my day there was interacting with them. It's making eye contact with them, listening to what they're saying. And I'm thinking, some of these children may not have anybody that does that with them.
That would be very sad.
Yes.
To even think that.
And then they form this relationship with you. They want to be in your group to talk about a certain project because you have interacted with them. And I think that a lot of times that's just what children are craving, somebody to take interest in them and to just
understand and
yes,
care.
make contact, eye contact.
Conversely, when I have, as an old curmudgeon, we call ourselves at times, when I have connected with young people, and that happens, it's a big deal for me.
Yes.
I get a huge uplift with that.
My
you know,
gosh, yes.
Gosh, they don't look at me as, you old guy, we don't care about you.
Oh, no.
They do
It's
look at me
inspiring.
like that.
Well, Ray, you're
Am I doing something wrong?
no, really.
Yeah.
That's an important thing.
Yeah.
So if you have questions or comments, again, you can text in 541-661-4098. So Cecelia, I keep having struggling with it, but I get to your name correct.
Okay.
We talked about this is it's a world issue, I suppose.
Oh, yes.
But what about right here? I don't hear much about that here in Curry County and this our little corner of the world. Do you think we're not immune to that, but it doesn't seem to be maybe as big a problem as it might be in, let's say, a bigger area, Portland or something like that?
Yeah. Well, it could be. I feel badly that I didn't even look up the statistics for our area. Because it is an older community.
That's true.
Where we have a lot of elderly people who are suffering with maybe chronic pain issues, maybe with loneliness, maybe feeling isolated. People who are, struggling financially. It's harder for them. It may be harder for them to just get out and go to the grocery store sometimes. And
we all probably know people like
yes.
that. I know that I do.
Yes.
And it's good to lend a hand out there if you can.
And, it's good to involve them if you can in volunteering. I love volunteering. It exposes me to all different kinds of people of all different ages.
Thing.
It's just something that just lifts your spirit. It really does. But trying to involve the older people, if you can, with doing that. Maybe take them along with you. I'm going to be volunteering here or there. Would you like to go with me? That kind of thing.
And the hard thing is to get them off the dime to actually want to sometimes leave the house.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is. And sometimes giving them a timeline saying, it's going to be tomorrow at 4:00 in the afternoon, and I'd like to pick you up, and maybe we can have, or maybe a little earlier, and we can have lunch first and then go and do this. But to certainly involve them in those kinds of things. Also, older people feel helpless a lot of times. There are things that they want to do around their home, and they don't have help doing it, and they don't have anyone to call, to do that.
Or the money to have it done.
Exactly. So, I worry about those people, and because this is it is a community,
I think, yes.
where we have a lot of elderly people.
Right.
And sometimes we don't even maybe know that it's suicide. Maybe they just stop taking their medications. Maybe they just
another one I was going to ask.
Caring for themselves.
There's probably not a way to actually define that, but that probably happens more often than we might think.
I'm sure that it does.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think just all I can do is pay attention to those people around me, those people that I love. And I even try to do that with my children, my grandchildren. I even have great-grandchildren. I have a 16-year-old great-granddaughter.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. And, it's just listening to them and being a part of what they do and noticing any changes in them.
Yeah.
That's really important. And but being there for them and, of course, loving them. That's the biggest thing, is just loving them.
Yeah.
And letting them know they're loved.
What are some of the signs that somebody is considering doing away with themselves?
Well, there are, they say that people who have a history of depression,
Yes.
or those that have a serious illness, maybe with chronic pain, those that have financial problems, those that are maybe have a substance abuse, maybe drugs or alcohol,
Right.
A sense of helplessness, or those that have had some violence in their history, and those that are maybe suffering from a mild dementia. Or
One of the things anecdotally noticed myself in my days in Alaska is that this time of year right now, when the days are getting longer and it's getting warmer and everything, was a fairly high time for suicide. And I think the reason for that is they're holding on through the long, dark, cold winter, saying, oh, it'll get warmer soon, and the sun will be out, and it gets warmer, and the sun is out, and they're still depressed. And they say, oh, what the hell, why am I bothering?
Yeah. Actually, it's also the wintertime, there's what is called SAD, which is seasonal affect disorder.
I have heard of that, yeah, especially like Ray up in Alaska where they're in the dark
was
for
very
weeks at a time.
Yeah. Or here, when it's raining for weeks at a time, when people who cannot get out, even if they wanted to, they cannot get out. They're worried about falling, or they're worried about different kinds of things, and they're not.
And I'm not making a light of that at all, but they're living up here, and we were talking earlier how we pretty much all feel this is a paradise. I love it.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely.
But there have been times when we've had those torrential downpours that go on for some days. You get a little bit of cabin fever.
Sure.
And I'm not equating that to ready to do some bad stuff, but it does affect us. It does affect us.
Yeah.
Another sign would be, and I can't recall that I've ever seen this personally, but people who have been depressed and unhappy, and you're kind of concerned about them, and then all of a sudden they're happy, and it looks like things are going better for them. And what it is that they've realized that they can get rid of all this just by killing themselves.
Yes,
and that can be a prelude, which, like I said, even more shocking. I know a woman who, in her college days, she was extremely depressed and was having a lot of problems, and I don't think she ever attempted suicide, but at one time she realized, well, that's an out. And that actually cheered her up because, I know I can always do that. And that helped her get through the not doing that.
Yeah.
Well, people who talk about being a burden also, people, who feel they're a burden to their family, like afraid to talk and to ask for help. Feeling, people with mood swings. And they say sleeping too much or sleeping too little, But,
you touching on sleep, that I do know quite a few. I'm okay in that department, maybe a little too much. But I know a lot of folks that are having trouble with that, our age.
Yes.
And what do you do with that?
Yeah.
Try to get some drugs to help. But that is an important aspect of life.
All of those things have downsides too. Yeah.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
For every reaction, or whatever one of those things.
Yeah. I have a hard time getting to sleep. I'm a reader, so I can, I will sit up and read sometimes till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, my. Okay.
Yes.
I'm a reader, too, but not at those hours.
Of course, then I sleep in till 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
But
everybody has a different body clock, and
we
I
do.
Understand
we
that.
do. But it's what you do at that time while you're awake. You don't want to fret. You don't want to sit and worry. You don't want to do that. So, find an activity, even if it's watching movies or,
soaps.
For me, it's reading.
Soaps will bring you right out of it.
Soap operas.
Soap operas, yeah.
Operas I don't want.
Are they still on?
I don't know.
I think they are. I can remember my mother would, we couldn't do anything while her stories were on.
Oh.
Because she wanted to see her stories.
Yeah. I remember being sick at school one time, and I had to wait for my mom's soap opera to finish before she'd come and get me. I was sitting in the nurse's
Fortunately,
office.
they're not very long. They're only a half hour.
I know, exactly. I think that was when Dark Shadows, remember?
Oh, gosh, I do.
Oh, yeah.
That
Barnabas
was her,
or something?
Oh, my gosh, it was her favorite show. So don't get sick when Mama's watching that.
Yeah, my mother loved that one, too. I used to think that was silly, but being addicted to soap operas, but now I'm addicted to YouTube.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I mean, the minute I hit my room where the computer is, it's turned on.
Yeah. I'm on YouTube a lot also. I have my favorite programs that I listen to. But, you know, it passes time, and there's so much on there that's interesting.
And there's so much on there that's BS too.
Oh, there is.
Well,
there is.
I get involved some of the political stuff, and I've developed enough knowledge now to realize no, that's not true.
Yes.
That's what they're saying is not true.
I try to limit my time with any political information anymore. I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. Let's move on to something else.
But it always leads to something else. How can you quit?
Oh, I have to. I have to because I feel frustrated and I feel angry, and that's not how I want to spend my day. I don't want my time being robbed by something like that.
It's a beautiful point. I'm in that same area, I think, right now. Now, again, we've disconnected our TVs where I live, and which is a good thing, but we still have YouTube.
Yeah.
But when I catch myself getting too involved and not feeling good, it's time to stop. We have to be aware of what's going on. But
yes, exactly.
And that is kind of also the problems that we're having. It's the world has changed, and there's a lot of down stuff out there that can make people be down.
And it doesn't seem to be anything that we can do anything about.
Correct. Not hopelessness. Well, maybe a little bit of that, but how can there's nothing we can do.
Yeah. So, we can attend marches, we can write letters, we can do all of that, but nothing seems to make a difference.
You can watch the YouTubes that are optimistic in the fact that things are going to change.
Yes.
Even though they're total lies. But the ones that...
but things will change. They always do.
You're right about that. And there's a little more inspiration for those. You know, I think we've all been, and I have been, gone through some rough patches in life and been, I would say, almost despondent at times, but not to follow through with what we're talking about.
Right.
However, I understand the pain that people must go through. Helplessness, big time.
Exactly.
And what always, the people that maybe have never experienced that, it's got to be very few of them, but when I've heard people kind of dismiss if somebody does commit suicide or even tries, they're just weak, and they look down upon them. I just don't do that because you're going through some pain.
Yes.
If you're going to want to do something like that or even talk about it, you've got some pain that has to be worked out.
Yeah.
Let me squeeze in here real quickly. If you want to participate in today's show, we have a text line where there are operators standing by, and that's 541-661-4098. You can send us a text, and we will answer your question or put out whatever your idea was.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay.
You bet. And also, we are halfway through the show, and would like to point out that you're all listening to KCIW LP 100.7 FM here in beautiful Brookings. And if you would like to come on and do a show with us or be a volunteer, we could sure use your help. Go to kciw.org and click that I have to find it to get involved like we are. And please join us. So that's our half break. Go ahead.
Okay.
Cecelia. Yeah.
So it was another one of the signs that you might come across is a loss of interest.
Yes.
Loss of interest in doing things you always used to do. And I find that myself right now, but I don't know why. There's some things I lived for woodworking and photography, and I don't do either of them anymore. But I've moved on to other things. So.
Yeah, that happens. I know. I'm a collector.
Oh.
Yeah, and I've stopped collecting. Well, first of all, I have no more room in my house.
What did you collect?
Everything.
Oh.
Everything.
That's a wide swath, but
yes,
that's good.
exactly.
Hey,
there was a thing on the news this morning about people, or this guy that collects Pez dispensers.
Oh my, yeah, yeah.
It's thousands of them. Seems odd to me,
Yeah.
but I collect old woodworking tools, and right now I have a Model T that I might as well say is collecting, because every
Okay.
time I turn around I have to buy something for it.
Okay.
Sitting in my garage right now is a $20 part that's going to cure everything as soon as I put it in.
All right. No, I collect a lot of vintage things. I collect silver, china, and crystalware. I collect some furniture, a lot of antiques. Yeah, my house is what they call eclectic maximalism.
Oh, that's a good word. 2 good words. Wow.
Yes.
It sounds
It is,
fun.
it is actually a design style. You can look it up.
I was just going to say,
Eclectic maximalism.
we could look that up after the show
Yeah.
and talk about it more.
Well,
And
but here we go.
plants. I collect plants also.
Okay. We talked about activities.
Yes,
If you
activities.
see or
yes.
know someone maybe who has or had an activity that all of a sudden,
Yes.
because those things inspire the soul, get your brain working.
Yes.
It's all good stuff,
It is.
right?
Yes. So if you notice somebody who maybe used to collect something, you might want to focus their attention on, getting out and doing a little bit of that, visiting
Well, the other
thrift
end of the
store or
collecting
whatever.
part is if you see somebody giving away their collection.
That's exactly right.
That's
Yes,
I have a
for
classic
money, giving away
incident.
money.
Classic incident of that once, where a young guy at St. Lawrence Island, he shot himself, and interviewing other people around said, he gave me his gun last week and he did this, and people didn't see the signs.
Yeah, it is giving things away.
Okay. But again, most people might not just there's a lot of signs.
Yes.
And as you well know, and you just people aren't educated enough, if that's the right way, to maybe pick up on that
Yeah.
and think it's just a normal. Bill's just getting a little old and getting rid of some stuff. Who knows? It's a problem that we should be aware of our people that we know and love, and
Yeah.
we see differences.
Yeah.
But you can legitimately want to give. I'm right now clearing my garage of things that I will never use again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I want to clean things up a little bit and make it a little,
Are you ever successful? I go out in the garage about
hard.
once a week and say, I got to straighten this mess up. And I get as far as one thing.
I started up, I got a big box and I started filling it every day with something I really didn't need and wasn't perfect. And I thought, this stuff will go to Goodwill,
I have a box in my car right now with that self-same thing.
And then I
in there.
find myself digging into that box,
Wait a
pulling things out.
I can't keep this away.
I remember I put that in the box. I think I want that out now. But it's, or I think, I will upgrade. I'll find something and I'll replace it. This chair. I'll replace this chair with a better chair. And then I end up keeping both chairs.
Now, if you're on YouTube and you do any kind of mechanical work at all or fix-it work, you have to go on to the latest Milwaukee drill or the latest Milwaukee. So I got a kind of a Milwaukee habit here not too long ago, and my toolbox is a sea of red because the Milwaukee tools are red. But I use them all sometimes.
Okay, that's good.
Another thing might be somebody who has always been reasonably neat and taking care of their appearance suddenly don't shave, don't wash their hair, don't do whatever, and just don't care anymore.
Yeah, their personal hygiene suffers. Yes, that is another thing, warning sign.
Have you ever done any research or anything as to figure out why people choose a certain method? Guns are my bane anyway, but 79% of men, and I forget what percent of 55% of men use guns. And the thing about guns is they are more successful. A lot of, I don't know what percentage of suicide attempts fail because they took a bunch of pills or something and just wound up throwing them up. A gun is pretty damn effective. And if you do it even halfway right, you're 100% effective.
Yeah.
Or more than once, I've seen people shoot themselves in the head and not die.
Exactly.
And that's even worse.
That is. I think I mentioned that most of the time men are, while I was told by one of my counselors that men are always successful in their
More so. Much
yes, they are almost always successful. Women may have many attempts that are saved, and that's usually because they're taking pills or they're, or that kind of thing. But men are almost always successful.
And they're a lot more susceptible to committing the act, aren't they? I mean, there's much more men.
When men make up their mind, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, where do we go with that? Or I don't know, but it is part of the statistics.
Yeah.
And guns are easy and efficient. You can, if you're choosing a way you're going to kill yourself, say, well, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to put a pipe in my exhaust, and you have to go get something usually. You have to go find a rope, or you have to go do, and guns, you probably have one in the drawer someplace. Or you can go downtown and buy one pretty quickly. And it's over like right now.
We didn't have guns in our family, in our home. Growing up, my husband and our kids, we never had guns in the house. And my husband had hung himself.
Yes.
Yeah. Which was, when I think how it could have, I would have hated the thought of him using a gun and having our son find him.
Yeah.
That would have been,
Okay. Yeah.
That's a very messy situation usually.
Exactly.
Now, Cecelia, you said you did go into therapy.
I did.
Do you still use that therapy or counseling? Do you think that should continue on, let's say, with somebody that dealt with it like as personal as you did? Is that an ongoing?
No.
Well, everybody's different.
Yeah, everybody is different. And it depends on the kind of counseling and therapy that you get. And it also depends on your support system, your family, those who...
That must be a huge...
It is.
It
is huge.
And you have huge family support.
So that is...
Not everybody does.
That's important. But, it was for me, it was for years,
Of course.
that I got therapy and counseling and direction to, this would be a good thing for you to read, read this, In fact, there's a book out that I saw. It's called I've Lost a Loved One to Suicide. What do I do now?
Yeah.
What do I do now? Where do I go? How do I reach out? How do I do that? So that would be, looking for those kinds of things because, it could have been a year ago that this tragedy happened to you. And it's only now that you're beginning to find some symptoms that are bothering you or some dreams or some bad feelings. And you want to go back and get therapy now.
Yeah.
I think it's affecting you in different ways.
Right.
So even the loss of a loved one, losing a husband or a wife to cancer, you've gotten maybe through the first year or so, and now it's bothering you even more than it did originally, and you need some grief counseling.
Right.
You need to
and that was my story. Lost my wife about 8 years ago, and luckily I had great family support with that, and I think that was just really big.
Yeah,
really big. And again, the shock of losing your life's partner. Now it was cancer, and it went relatively quickly, but still, boy oh boy.
Yes.
Where to go from here.
Where to go.
Yeah, another sign which seems like it shouldn't even be needed to be mentioned, but people talking about, I just wish I could die, or
yes,
or making some kind of an attempt, or something. Women more often than men will attempt and not be successful, and then maybe recover from that. But after a while, sometimes you might hear somebody saying something like that or acting like that, and you just go, "Oh, he's always saying that." But I remember a 15-year-old kid in a small village in Alaska who kind of hinted to his family all the time that he wanted to die. And one night at dinner, everybody was done eating, and he got up and says, well, I'm going to go kill myself. And he did. He went up into his bedroom and shot himself in the head.
I can't think of anything too much worse than
No,
something like that.
Yeah.
can't get there.
Boy. You know, I know in some states, I believe Oregon's one, I think California's, and I'm not 100% sure, assisted suicide.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oregon.
Do these statistics break any of that down? Because I know of some people who were so sick and tired of being sick, and they were sick,
Yes.
that did that, and I think that was the right decision for them.
Yes.
Do they come into the stats on the suicides, I wonder?
I think that they do. I think they do into the stats of those elderly patients who commit suicide.
Right.
We have, I have a connection with Coastal Home Health and Hospice.
Yes, I do want to bring that into
I'm on the board of directors there.
conversation.
And we do have hospice patients who are at the end and just say, I'm done,
Okay.
and, with the supervision of a doctor,
Right,
a
there's-
clinician,
Okay.
and nurses, they are able to say, I'm done, and this is it,
Okay. And that is legal in Oregon right
Yes,
now.
it
Yes.
is. Yes.
It's not quite as simple as you might think.
Well,
Yeah.
No, it's
No,
not.
You
I'm
have to
sure you
con-
have to jump
it's
through
more
some
than-
hoops, but
There are many. There are many
Yeah.
hoops, but it is something that is available to those patients who are terminal, those patients there's never going to be an improvement in their life.
right.
And their suffering is great. And that is,
Okay.
how can you not agree with that?
We both. Well, we both have a friend who recently died by asking to be taken off life support, and she didn't want to go on with what life was going to consist of after that. That to me just sounds like an unbelievable thing. I have one friend who did that, and another friend of a friend, and I don't know. It's like you call up all your friends and say, "Hey, come on Thursday. I'm going to take a pill and die in front of everybody."
I have one acquaintance of mine, but go ahead.
Well, his wife was a friend of mine that, the last thing he said was, "I'm going to miss you," to her. And I thought, God, what an asshole! What a thing to leave somebody with. But anyway, he didn't mean it like that, though. But
Well, maybe he was. Yeah. Again, I can't go inside that brain, but I had one acquaintance, a dear friend of mine. It was a friend of my dad's, and she was lingering in a Reading rest home for over 2 years, and kept every time I visited her, it was like, Rick, I wish I could just go. I wish back then nothing I could do, of course, but in a way I was thinking, boy, maybe she would have been a good candidate. She would have if she could have, but she just didn't have the wherewithal. Not the wherewithal, but it wouldn't have been legal. And of course she finally passed, but just all that misery that she didn't want to put up with. So there is again, with the assisted suicide, I think there is a reason that's around.
Yeah.
I have a relative who died a few years ago, and we brought her home from the hospital on hospice because she was saying she'd been sick for many years and had recently taken a turn for the worse. And when we brought her home, she couldn't complete a full sentence frequently, and she'd say, "I just wanna," and she couldn't finish the sentence because that was all the words she could say. And we had looked into the assisted suicide, but at that time there was only one doctor that would do it, in Grants Pass, and it was thousands of dollars, and we'd have to put her in the car and pain and drive her to Grants Pass. Anyway, she eventually did pass on her own, but it's just hard to imagine that you're laying there in the bed, you have very little control over yourself. Maybe you're aware of things around you and that type of thing, and you're just kind of waiting to die. And we were all waiting for her to die. When it looked imminent, we all kind of gathered around, but it's a tough thing to...
Oh, my gosh. It is. Are many reasons that, especially we seniors, as we get aged and the trouble, it's so many reasons that we have trouble dealing with it. But the healthcare system alone, we had talked about this earlier, some people can't even afford the meds that they might might need to help them through, let's say, some pain, but they just can't afford the meds.
Yes. Exactly.
So I think a little political here, but
I know
Whitey's on the moon, and we have people that are
it's one of the third rails, I suppose, but it's a reality.
It is a reality.
I don't see right now healthcare getting any better, and it's getting more expensive. Seniors, we seem to lose. They don't give. I have it. I'm through tribal, so it's a little different. But people that don't have vision, dental, hearing, that stuff's expensive, and the older we get, the more we need that kind of stuff.
I see a eye doctor every 6 months just because you do that, and I have glaucoma, and the pill takes care of that. But I would say not everybody goes to see an eye doctor every 6 months because they can afford it, don't have coverage, and they will just deal with the effects of glaucoma.
It shouldn't happen in this country, I guess is what I'm saying. No. And no, I don't have any answers, and the problem is deep. But another problem with, I hear, along with that, people go into medical bankruptcy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And again, it doesn't seem like it should happen in a country like this.
I have a friend who has since died, and her husband died too. They were doing all right, both retired and had some money, and he injured himself, and it cost every bit of the money they had to take care of his injury. And they were basically broke when they died, living hand to mouth. And But we live in a country that can afford to send rockets around the moon for some reason. Don't get me started on that.
Okay.
I could go. Yeah, there's
we
a
all
list
have,
of it.
Gil Scott Heron did a poem that's available on YouTube called Whitey on the Moon. I'd suggest everybody listen to it. Or I could recite it right now. No.
Okay.
Well, it's it is difficult for seniors, so I worry about a lot of my friends and my neighbors, and you just keep an eye out, on them and changes that may happen. I'm very lucky to have a lot of friends. My neighbors are my friends. We get together for bunco. We get together for cards. We get together for book club, and we kind of keep an eye on each other, because we're all about the same age, Right. And, you just have to be sensitive to the environment.
This community has a lot of things for people to do, to be involved in something like Rick and I both do this, and then every Thursday night I'm at open mic and then do other things in between. But there are people who just won't do it, won't get off their butt and go or do anything. But there's always soap operas.
Yeah.
If that's your thing, I guess it should make you feel better. Yeah. Well, Cecelia, let's delve also into, you do volunteer. You're a board member of Coastal Home Health and Hospice.
Yes.
Now, hospice, I have a very personal dealing with, and absolutely love those people. They and I had great family support when my wife was leaving this world. Great family support. But hospice was there too. Boy, oh boy, did I call that number a lot in the last few months. Always there, always just the right thing to do, the right thing to say. Nothing but good about hospice people.
I know. They are angels. They really are.
Yes, they are.
I have been on the board for 11 years, I guess.
Wow.
I've been on the board of directors. The organization has grown a lot, Coastal Home Health and Hospice. We have our home health kind of section, and then we have the hospice section.
Right.
We are now doing outpatient, like physical therapy, where we have physical therapists. We have occupational therapy. We have speech therapy that's available. We also opened a hospice in California. It's in Crescent City.
Is
that
new?
Yes, it's brand new.
That's
We just
big news, I think.
we
down
just
there
started
on
doing
the
hospice
California
care.
side. Okay.
Hospice care there in that area.
Okay.
So we are growing. We're able to serve more people in the community. It's a wonderful organization. I can't say enough about the people who work there. Our physical therapists, our nurses, our clinical, even the staff, the management staff, all of the people associated with the organization. It's just they are all so dedicated and providing a wonderful service for this community, which I'll probably use one day.
Well, we might all have to delve into that a little bit, but glad it's there.
Oh, my gosh.
Glad it's there.
Yes.
And how is that all, quote, funded? Are there, you volunteer, and there are other volunteers.
There are other volunteers, but our money comes in from the insurance companies when we bill for our services for our patients. If a patient is in hospice, they usually have Medicare coverage and maybe a second coverage, but Medicare covers hospice care. So we send out our billings for that, for caring for the patient, and then we are paid by the insurance companies.
Okay.
So that's where our revenue comes from.
Yeah.
We do accept donations, for different projects that we do. We have, we offer grief counseling,
right.
to the families of those patients that we have cared for. So, I can't say enough about the organization. But yes, our money comes from billings for services that are provided.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Even after my wife passed, some of the hospice, they were all ladies, the ones that I had. I know there's men out there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, they dropped by anytime I wanted to keep,
Yes.
Do you need anything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was just wonderful.
Yeah. And our grief counseling isn't just for those patients that were hospice patients or even treated, in our home health care. We offer grief counseling. You can call and ask about that.
Right.
And attending. So that's very good.
And hospice nurses, if you will come either to your house, like they did mine, or at the hospital where the patient is,
or skilled nursing facilities.
Facility. Yeah, you just can't say enough good about them. Now, you say you do, or there are donations. How would one donate to Coastal? Coastal Home Health.
Well, we have a wonderful website that you can go to.
Okay, that's
Yes, Coastal Home Health and Hospice.
Okay.
And or you can call our office. Our office is on 5th Street. And, you can call there. But probably the website is probably the best place to go. But I encourage you to just go onto the website and look at the different services that are offered and the different, it's because people do have questions about it. Who qualifies?
Well, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How do I get my mother into, and when is the time for them to go to hospice care? It has to be you have to qualify for hospice care,
Right.
But
but you have to be diagnosed as
Terminal, 6 months.
But then I have,
But some people live longer than that.
and then they
Yes.
can,
But the prognosis is,
Right.
6 months
right.
or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
we probably covered this at least a little bit
Yep.
during the show, but as I think it's important enough, maybe we could reiterate whatever's been said. But somebody that's showing some of the signs and they're like a friend, maybe a casual friend or something, and they're not doing anything for themselves. What can you do?
Who would somebody call? Maybe right off the top, if they think, "Oh man, we got to get a hold of the person's doctor." Of course, you might not know that.
yes, they may not want to share that information with you. I think probably talking to them and just getting them to understand that there is help available. Just saying, I've noticed that you feel a little bit down, and there is help that's available to you. I can give you this number, number that you should call whenever you're feeling really down and you want to talk to somebody, and maybe it's information you don't want to share with a friend, but there is somebody who will listen to you. You call that 988 number and you talk to somebody.
That would be
They're
a
there
great
to
place
help.
to start.
Yes. But, I've kind of noticed that you're worried about this, or I've noticed that you're not as engaged, or, and, they may say, oh, well, the reason is, and you think, okay, well, that's a good reason. I'm going to stop worrying about that. But just letting them know that you've noticed and you're worried.
Yeah.
You're concerned.
Right.
And
again, you yourself who are concerned can call the 988 number
Yes.
and get help yourself,
Yeah.
or to
Yes.
figure out what would be the next move
Right.
for the person you're concerned
Yes.
about.
And a lot of times too, people are not aware that you can call Adult Protective Services for somebody that when you're worried about their home situation, their living situation. Maybe they're alone. No one is caring for them. No one is buying their groceries. No one is helping them. Adult
Protective
Services.
And how do we get a hold of them?
You just look them up.
Yeah.
And
we had to do that
yeah.
for a person out
Yes.
where in Smith River one time.
Yes.
Yeah, it gets scary.
It does.
It's scary.
But if you're worried about their
Yep.
physical health,
Yeah.
you can do that. You can call Adult Protective Services and they will come out. A lot of times, it's, we had a neighbor and someone had called the police and said, I'm really worried about this person's situation. Can you come out? And then they called Adult Protective
I'm glad you mentioned
Services.
that, because I've been called more than once for that, and that is the result of that is defund the police. And as silly as that sounds, because defund the police doesn't mean get rid of all the cops. It means let's take some of that money and put it where it belongs. Many times I've gone on calls like that where I wasn't even begin to be equipped to handle it. Required somebody with some kind of an ability to deal with somebody like that. But
Okay, we are out of time. I'm Cecelia. Thank you very much for coming on the show and talking about
Thank you
this.
for inviting me.
Boy, very important subject. So again, thank you. Thank you, listeners. And you've been listening to KCIW LP 100.7 FM in beautiful Brookings, Oregon.
and that number real quick is 988. Call that.
Yeah, good point.